mind. I've never been one to reel the fears that wasn't right. I've never been one to fear the things inside my mind. I've never been one to dream a dream that wasn't right. I've never been one to dream a dream that wasn't right. I've never been one to dream a dream that wasn't right. I've never been one to dream a dream that wasn't right. I've never been one to dream a dream that wasn't right. I've never been one to dream a dream that wasn't right. I've never been one to dream a dream that wasn't right. I've never been one to dream a dream that wasn't right. I've never been one to dream a dream that wasn't right. I've never been one to dream a dream that wasn't right. I've never been one to dream a dream that wasn't right. I've never been one to dream a dream that wasn't right. I've never been one to dream a dream that wasn't right. Boom, boom, ba-da-da, boom, boom, ba-da, boom, ba-da, boom, boom, ba-da-da, boom, boom, ba-da.
Action!
Hey guys, welcome to Mind Over Music. Today we're here with EMAEL, a band that has a pretty sweet acoustic ambient vibe going on. How did you guys all meet each other?
High school.
High school.
A lot of us high school, yeah, except this guy over here.
And this guy just popped up from the other side of the Atlantic and was like, sick music, bruh.
Yeah, I was just here.
Let me get that.
Yeah,
No, I was doing my master's here at Cal State Fullerton, and I don't know how we met. I think I was just noodling around on a synthesizer one day.
You were playing Moog in one of the practice rooms one day, and I was like, sick. That's a sick Moog. You should come play music with us.
Yeah, and then I started playing drums. So.
Oh, for sure.
Nice.
Did you play drums your whole life, or did
Yeah.
you start? Oh, wow.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, let's start off. Let's get some names from you guys, just so we can get familiar with you, and maybe we'll talk about inspirations in a second. But what are your names?
My name's Joris.
AKA your dog.
Your dog.
Your dog.
Your dog.
Your dog.
My name's Emmanuel, but I go by E-Man.
E-Man.
Alyssa, short and simple.
AKA ABC.
No, PhD, ABC.
PhD ABC.
Yeah.
That's a doctorate in the alphabet right there. Let's go.
I'm Simple Mike.
Simple Mike.
Simple Mike. Simple
So we got
This is
yours.
Simple Mason. You guys are gonna get.
I'm
along
Simple
great.
Mason. This is Simple Matt. Let's do this.
Sick. All right.
But cool. So do you guys write collectively when you do music? How does the writing process work for you?
We don't. We've tried a couple times, like, to write really collectively.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the ultimate. We haven't gotten that vibe down yet. Let's put it that way.
We're working towards writing collectively, always. Everybody always gives their input here and there.
Yeah.
I've primarily been the writer in our previous work. However, as we move forward, I think we've been writing collectively more and more.
Cool. Yeah, it's nice to see the progression as a band when you start getting that chemistry really going and you start
Exactly.
making something really collective, you know?
Yeah.
The more that you play together, the more that you establish the chemistry together, and the more that you're able to create together. So
For sure.
Right.
For sure.
So, E-Man, have you been like teaching them your songs prior, and then you guys have all just been coming up with new stuff as you've been progressing as a band and like figuring out your own sound?
Well, if we're talking about the previous album, Glasswork, it really depends on who worked on the song. For instance, the two songs that we played for you guys tonight, Full My Kite, aka Yellowtail, and
Little Brown
Little Brown Cloud. Yellowtail was written primarily as a groove written by Joris, and Little Brown Cloud was written by something kind of between me and Michael. So like, in the stages of being able to learn those songs, we kind of both, me and Joris both knew Yellowtail, and me and Michael both knew Little Brown Cloud. So, you know, as we move forward, we both kind of like understand the song in that way because we wrote it together.
Gotcha. So it's a little give and take. Like you two will come up with your parts, and then you'll show it to them, and then they'll say like, "Hey, we have."
Instead of doing everything in a room
Right.
together, it kind of gets bounced around.
That's what I meant earlier when like you were asking about like writing collectively. Like, it's not that we sit in a room together and just like start writing a song. It's like somebody has an idea or a part of a song or like a verse and a chorus and brings it to the table and we make it one, you know, we find a sound together basically.
Right, one solid idea.
Yeah.
So that being said, who are your guys' like biggest influences? Who are you listening to right now? Like, what's the most important?
And if possible, let's take it person by person
Yeah.
for that question to see where it's all
It's good that
coming
it's
from.
person by person because we all have our own thing.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of times it comes together collectively.
And that's
like
what
that,
makes us
so.
such an eclectic band is that we all have kind of different spectrums that we like to listen to.
Yeah, for sure. Yours?
So, I grew up listening to a lot of like funk and like jazz and soul and stuff like that, and also, you know, rock here and there, and you know, like the Red Hot Chili Peppers. We all went through a Peppers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
of course,
definitely.
And I
for sure.
still do. I still go back and listen to that stuff
Yeah.
a lot. You know, Bloodsuckers Magic. But like nowadays, a lot of my inspiration comes from like new soul, jazz, stuff like that. And as my job, I write a lot of video game music and film music, and so like symphonic music, orchestral music. That's a big thing for me as well. So I like to arrange for strings, and you know, he plays cello, so
Yeah.
that works together really well. And so those are my influences a lot. Yeah.
For sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How about you, man?
I grew up listening to a lot of world music, and then in my youth, I listened to a lot of metal music and then hip hop music. So I really like to listen to all kinds of stuff. And nowadays, I like to listen to stuff like Alt J and Radiohead, and you know, when it comes to the more jazzy stuff like Hiatus Coyote and stuff like that. So I like to listen to stuff that really pushes the edge and stuff that always sounds unique. You know.
Yeah, for sure.
So like when you say world music, are you talking about like brand new like pan flute bands or like
It was more like when I was a kid and my parents were letting me listen to music of all different kinds of cultures. And
Oh, okay, cool.
It was just kind of how I was raised with my parents, is that they were always trying to let me experience things from as many places around the world as possible.
That's awesome.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mine's a lot more simple. I just listened to a lot of pop growing up, but my parents also put on a lot of like Eagles and all that. But we used to have this EMAEL Spotify playlist where it'd be collaborative and everybody else would kind of put in their songs that they liked. And that's what got me into different bands too, like you said, Alt J or Hiatus Coyote.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I'm listening to.
That's cool to kind of collectively have a Spotify playlist that you're bouncing ideas off of, you know?
Yeah.
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
For sure.
Right.
Take a note, other bands out there watching.
What about Simple Mike?
Oh,
How you doing, Simple Mike?
it doesn't get simpler. I don't know. My parents raised me on some good music. Stevie Wonder, you know, the good stuff. Al Green, all that jazz. I don't know. I've been diving into a little more punk nowadays. But
No way.
Skewing off the genre?
I like punk, but like Minutemen, like early shit, like just.
Do you have
stuff that
a
sounds
favorite
good.
artist?
MC5. I don't know. No, I really don't. It changes on a daily.
We're all very eclectic.
I'm okay with
it
that,
goes,
yeah.
but I love anything but country. I'm down with.
Dude,
What?
It's a cliche.
African,
on.
but at the same time, I love country. It's like country nowadays is just like, well, you know, ain't gonna do it.
Yeah.
So like,
What's that new country song?
But like old country,
Town.
like,
Take my
like
horse
good
to the
country,
old town.
good country is like
Old town.
different than
much. I mean,
country. I feel like so.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Old Johnny Cash style country.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's good stuff
Yeah,
for sure.
Nelson and
Oh yeah.
you
for
know
sure.
Bakersfield blues stuff.
so because you guys have like all different eclectic tastes, I really like that it all just kind of molds into this one final resolute sound. Like when you guys are playing, you know, live, it just, the chemistry you guys have together, I think you play off each other so well. It's not like too convoluted or not enough going on. It's just enough to keep the listener interested. It's definitely unique. So I was super into it, and I definitely think the listeners will be as well. What are some things that you guys either find hard about the music you play or would like to challenge yourselves with the music you play?
Well, when music coming from one person or another, it's always difficult when you have to learn that music, because it's not something that you came up with.
Right.
So you know, we're all coming from different places always, and and genres and tastes. So the eclecticism kind of makes you feel like you have to kind of step out your comfort zone all the time.
Right.
So this member or that member, whoever it is, always kind of has to kind of be pushing themselves in order to live up to the vision that somebody in the band had.
So do you have to try to like put yourself in Joris's shoes when he brings like a drum beat to you or like a cello part?
Honestly, when Joris came to me with the Yellowtail Groove, however many years it was ago, I literally, and I'm not even making this up, sat down with a metronome and played the thing like way slower than it is on the track, and just sat down with it for about, I don't know, a week.
And just did halftime until you
Now
learned
I can play it with my eyes closed, with my mind shut down.
Yeah.
I can play it super drunk. I can play it however I am, you know?
Yeah.
And I'll play it perfectly because I've sat down with it and I had to really learn it because it was not easy when I first learned it. And I think it's probably the same thing for a lot of members in the band when I write something too. It's just we're always kind of stepping out our comfort zone. We're always trying to learn something that might be a little bit weird for us.
Yeah.
And in the end, if we really work on it and we really listen to each other, we're going to come up with something that sounds pretty cool, hopefully.
On that note, I did want to ask you, Joris, now that we're in the interview setting, for Yellowtail, what's going on there in that first section? Dun 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 dun. Yeah, like what was your thought process behind that rhythm? What's happening there?
What's the thought process? Well, there, you know,
Or what's the rhythm going on?
There's a, I mean, you can write it out, and that's easy. It's a 7/4 bar, and then 4/4 and a 4/4. That's the whole thing.
Oh, okay.
So it's 4 + 3 + 4 + 4.
Okay.
That's the whole thing. So coming down to how the rhythm was constructed is like, from my drumming background, there's always a lot of. I always used to play a lot with metric modulations and doing weird polyrhythms and stuff like that. So you hear the guitar part, and that's like a 3/4 thing. It's almost like a 3/4 bar against the rest, which can go in 7 or in 4/4.
Yeah.
And then I was playing with that. I was jamming with that, and I came up with this groove, and it was just a 7/4 groove that locked in over. It kind of like you play it a couple times, and then all of a sudden it resets back
Linked
on the
back
one
up, yeah.
with the guitar. And so I was working on that, and it was full on like syncopated, like ghost note, kind of like Tower of Power, David Garibaldi stuff.
Yeah.
And it was, but it also sounded kind of like a progressive metal kind of groove. It's like everything was filled out. Every 16th was like filled out with ghost notes and weird accents. And then when I showed it to EMAEL and we worked on it, we kind of like decided to take out all the ghost notes and just keep the major accents, and that's why it sounds so syncopated and so like almost disjointed in a way. But then, so it plays really well with the idea that the guitar and the drums, even though they cross the bar lines with each other, they like reset at the beginning.
At the same spot,
of the phrase.
I think that's what's so beautiful about it. Like when I listened to it for the first time, because I mean, to be honest, I sat there trying to figure out the like how to count it for a long time.
Right.
And I was doing 12 and 7, and I was even going to 9, and I was going up to like trying to find out how many quarter notes were in the entire thing, and then it wasn't dividing. Right. And I think it's just so beautiful because it is divided in such a way between you two that when it comes together again on that one, as you call it, you know, like when they both link up again, it hits so hard. So
thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, good job. all of you, great job. Yeah, it's an amazing song. But
with that, how do you guys come up with your harmonies, and like who is to take the lead on those harmonies? Does it kind of work with like whoever's song it is?
No, I think most of the harmonies stem from these two voices right here.
Yeah.
I just kind of like add whatever I can on top.
You have some good harmonies
when
too.
I can, like when I remember to, you know.
I'm absolutely terrible at harmony. I'm good at some things, and harmony is not one of them. This one and this one are fantastic at harmony. A lot of times Alyssa will come up with some harmonies, a lot of times based on thirds and sixths. And, you know, sometimes I'll write some harmonies that are very jagged, very obscure, just because I like it.
Hard to remember.
Just because I like it.
It's fun. It makes it
And
fun.
she'll be able to execute them beautifully. But a lot of times she'll be able to come up with, for some of our songs in the future coming out that we're working on, she'll be able to come up with some harmonies that are absolutely beautiful just out of her soul and just out of the way that she sings it. And a lot of times live, Michael will come up with these harmonies that we didn't even write for the track, and he'll sing them, and it's just like, Damn, dude.
Oh, that works.
And that augmented 6 on here.
Remember that again?
Live is live, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes
cool.
that improv like takes it to a new level. You just have to just mess around with the song and.
That's a lot about what Michael's up to in our band.
That's what I live by.
Michael's very involved in the live aspect of our band.
Cool.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alyssa, like, do you have like traditional musical training? What's your vocal background to be able to just kind of come up with these melodies that work so well and hit these notes, you know?
To be honest, I didn't really have any vocal training. I played piano when I was 4, and that kind of started my musical whatever career. But he and I were actually in choir our sophomore or junior year of high school, and that's where we met him too. And that's the extent really of the choir training. But I think training with that like piano ear way back when I was 4 helped a lot with where my tone is, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, just listening to you guys in there, I think someone was asking for an A, and you just sang out loud like an A. And it's like, holy shit, to have musical background.
It's funny
It's
because
pretty close.
yours
Not relative. Perfect.
It was really good, yeah.
Yours and I have studied in the school and everything and like gotten our degrees and stuff. Alyssa hasn't done that, and yet she's the only one in the band with perfect pitch. It's funny because people tell you, yeah, perfect pitch is genetic, and you're just like, screw you, man.
I know.
Honestly, it's kind of true, man.
Yeah, you don't want to believe it.
Or you start them young.
Yeah, for sure.
But I mean, just with traditional choir class, like, would you have been able to just sing an A out of the air like that?
No.
Do you know?
Choir doesn't.
Wait,
Probably.
back then you couldn't have known?
Well, I could, but nobody else could.
Oh yeah, but what about you though?
Saxophone.
But I'm the shit though.
Well,
so
that-
of
yeah.
course I can sing it.
I
Well, that's what I'm
started
saying,
really
like-
young. I started really young.
Before then, were you still able to do that even without like choir? Because I assume choir, they just teach you the dumb
Like the
songs in
songs
choir.
and
Yeah, and they're like,
dumb
okay,
songs
well, hold on. Like, I took choir too. I was in a cappella, and
yeah.
believe me, they have some songs in there. You're like, heck yes, I'm feeling this song. And
Yeah.
then other songs, you're like, man, this song
is
sucks.
whack.
Like,
It's pretty
That was-
I do not
me,
want to
like,
sing this hymnal for like the
Three
fourth
quarters of the
Majority of the
time.
time.
Yeah.
That was it.
No, but like when you were a kid, did you have perfect pitch?
I think I had pretty close, because what my piano teacher way back when did was he would have us play a song by ear first before playing,
wow.
reading the notes. So it
interesting.
really trained
That's
my
smart.
ear that way.
Yeah,
Terrible
definitely.
teacher.
It was not great for my timing wise. They know I'm awful at rhythm, so that's why.
We all have our strengths.
Yeah, exactly.
But the pitch I can
why
do.
you work so well
the
together.
song, like playing things by ear I can do.
I kind of learned in like church too, like just growing up, like singing without anything, and singing with like a bunch of people who were singing no matter if they were like terrible and like couldn't hold anything.
Yeah.
And just like, or were like trying to like impress the people around them, you know.
Right, and
Like,
they're going sharp
and I'm
because they're
just
trying
like
to sing loud,
I
and
gotta,
their families
I
can
gotta
hear
like
them.
bounce
Just the
in
passion.
between that.
Yeah,
so
yeah, for
that's
sure.
where I kind of learned.
So how many of us are church kids then? Raise
None.
your hands. You said in church, right? No?
I'm touching the floor on this one.
Oh man, just me
Yeah,
then.
no, I was too.
Just
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
You're the only one
Our
with a
other
button
band
down,
member,
man.
he
Like,
was
True, that's true.
That's where a lot of great things.
We don't have
happen.
churches in Holland.
We don't have jazz in
So deadpan.
you're just like super serious.
I'm trying to keep it straight.
Yeah. You almost had it.
What sections were you? I'm kind of curious. In the when you were in choir.
Oh, what was I? I was like soprano, but then like mezzo soprano, like
No.
You're alto.
You were alto?
They say that, but then no.
You can do both.
Yeah, I
but-
was in the middle.
All right.
So you were
I-
soprano.
soprano?
Yeah. True soprano. Right?
Emmanuel's probably tenor. I was a bass.
For sure.
Yours was
Was not.
never a singer.
Yours will
He was
never
not a
sing in his
singer.
life.
No,
As long
not
as
a
he's
singer?
alive. As much as he loves musical theater. Ask him a
As
question
much
about
as he
musical
loves
theater.
John Mayer.
And Troy Bolton from High School Musical.
And wait, what was it? Backstreet Boys.
Backstreet Boys.
Backstreet Boys is amazing.
Hey, man, everyone has a guilty
This is
pleasure.
getting a little loose. This is getting a little loose.
Sure, let's own it.
Reset.
All right,
Start from the
back
top.
on topic.
Reset.
All right.
What was your guys' like first brush with like a live show or your first live music experience? Like, what was that like?
As a collective unit.
Well,
Or just alone, if you can recall.
we've been through a couple of different iterations together. Yoris is our newest member of EMAEL. So Yoris was maybe not part of our first thing together, but he can maybe answer this in his own perspective. One of our first like big experiences together was this festival in San Diego called the Sun God Festival.
Yeah, held by UC San
And
Diego.
and it was we played on like a big stage, and it was really cool. And we were really young, and it was kind of scary, and it was fun.
Scary.
But it was big. It was scary. You know?
How long ago was that?
That was in 2014.
Wow.
Yeah.
But I don't know what yours is. I kind of want to know what yours' perspective on our first live experience together would be.
First live experience. Well, oh man,
The long.
when we
That was a
started
long time
playing, like we finished, because I remember joining, and I joined kind of like, I don't know, some would say the best time, some would say the worst time, because like I joined.
What do you say?
Let's get some.
You call it pivotal, all right?
Yes, pivotal.
Game changer.
Yes.
At a
Anyways,
pivotal point in.
I guess it was a good time to join, because I joined right when they like finished up their last show before going into a hiatus, and that was kind of like, you know, that was meant for writing the new album and stuff like that. So some of my songs kind of made it to the album, so I think that was a good time to join.
Yeah.
And then we started playing a lot of DBA shows. After
DBA
that,
256 Pomona.
have you been there?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That was true. That's probably one of our first gigs. Yeah.
That was my first live experience with
It's a fun
EMAEL.
spot for a while.
Yes, we played that one a lot, and we did some big things like Constellation Room was really cool.
That was a
bet.
fun
with Jay
one.
Fuse. That was a lot of fun.
That's cool.
So yeah, but lots of DBA, lots of Night Owl, which is
Oh, Night Owl.
Night Owl,
Night Owl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do
Quite
people up
often.
here know
The open
night?
mic nights or whatever.
Yeah.
No, we don't play
frequented
those.
that.
We-
Oh, you
even
played, like,
before.
Really?
We just, you know.
Yeah, man. We
just
would
played
headline,
there?
bro.
Yeah, we would headline at the Night Owl.
We actually had our album
really
released
impressive.
very
Joe
way
loves
back when
us.
there.
Why'd you guys ever stop? I mean, that was your ticket. No, I'm just kidding.
Cafe, man.
A great
But,
cafe.
Do you guys have an EP coming up, right?
Correct.
So where's the inspiration from that? How's your songwriting process going? What things are you drawing from right now?
To be honest, this next EP is kind of a leftover collective of our previous album. From this point, after this EP, we're going to be moving forward to some very brand new stuff that we have not explored yet as a band. And but this collective of songs right here in this EP is kind of like what's left over after we finished Glasswork, our last album.
Okay.
So yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of where we're at.
I saw also, really, if I can interject really quick,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
Glassworks got a remix album as well. How did that happen? Like, did you contact other bands or they contact you? type of thing?
Well, we just have a lot of friends that make electronic music, and it felt like, you know, people were responding well to what we had done, and we had a lot of friends who were like doing their thing, and we hit them up and said, hey, you know, would you guys like to? Here's the stems. What would you guys like to do with this? And people
Yeah.
made some decent stuff, and it was
That's
cool,
awesome.
and
Very
we ended up wanting to make a project out of it.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a favorite song out of like your entire discography?
I'd say that
out
it's
of all the
probably
things you've
different
done.
for everybody here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I like
yeah.
each
So
one of
just person by person,
My
what's your favorite song?
is Helix, I think, especially from all the stuff that we've released. Probably Helix. That's the song that, I mean, I didn't really write anything on that. So I feel like I can still, that's one of the songs I can still kind of like get a helicopter view.
Like an outside
Yeah.
perspective.
You know, like Yellowtail, like I've kind of like lived that song, you know? Like it's just like recorded and we produced it all, and like Helix I can still like sit back and just enjoy it for what it is. And I just love that song. And I love the performance that EMAEL gave on that, vocal wise.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like that one. Love the outro. feel like not enough people have heard that outro.
That's
So
true.
that's you know.
Go listen to that outro
little
right
thing
now.
Yeah.
Link in the bio.
I'd say, to be honest, that Helix is probably one of my favorites as well, which is dope because it was actually written by an ex-member of our group. And maybe ex, not so hard, but you know, a member who lives in Europe and is doing his thing musically, Miko Pablo, a cellist who used to play with us. And he kind of helped write a lot of that song, and it was kind of birthed from his mind. And I really love that song as well. It's one of my favorites. I also really love Boy Who Melts the Sun from our previous album, which was pretty much only from me, and I really love the song. It's a very honest song for me, and I love Helix and Boy Who Melts the Sun a lot.
Cool.
Nice. I actually was just about to say Boy Who Melts the Sun. I really like that one, and Little Brown Cloud, which you heard.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Little brown cloud, right? Simple mic.
Yeah.
Crowd.
Little brown crowd.
Little brown crowd.
Oh gosh.
Boy Who Melts the Sun is up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's funny because I guess we all kind of said that song, except yours, and yet we never really feel like that song resonates live.
Oh,
I think it's also because
It's a very sad song.
It's,
Does it just get lost in translation
No,
somewhere?
Not
Yeah.
so much. It's more like it's not a song that you play live and that people are
It's
like,
not like
yeah,
Right.
I don't feel like it's like a show song, but at the
Exactly.
same time, you're playing it. You're like, people are just like, whoa.
yeah.
Yeah, some
And,
people
I mean, you
don't know
might-
when to pull out the lighter
Yeah.
and then just give it, you know, like
Yeah.
a somber
I'm sure
feeling.
you'll get that
I
moment
think it's cool.
eventually
It's
too.
cool. It's cool
when
both
it'll-
ways.
Yeah, yeah.
Kind of playing it and just like watching people and being like, all right, we're gonna bust this one out.
Yeah. I'm sure you'll
It's
get
fun.
that
It's
moment
fun. Yeah.
sometime live too when it'll really resonate in a really cool way and it'll
Yeah.
be super magical because like you were saying there's so much emotion in it and there's so much passion and actual depth to it.
No, there's always magic. In
I mean,
that
I'm
song.
sure it's great every time, no doubt, but there will be that, you know, a couple times where it like the audience
crowd's
is crying.
They're really
you know?
ready for it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure. So your EP, when does that come out?
EP comes out at the end of this month, last day of this month, 31st.
We also just had another single drop, Steam, last Friday. Yeah.
What is that single called?
Steam in the Faucet.
Steam in the
Steam in
Faucet.
the Faucet.
It's
Cool.
meant to represent the chaotic time that we all live in,
It's-
politically and socially and whatever.
Just take it for what it is. It's a good song.
All right. That being
Michael
said,
Womack.
last question: do you guys take political sides into your music and use that as an aspect, or do you steer away from that stuff?
I don't. I just rhythms and
Just
Yeah.
right,
and
yeah.
nice heart. No.
Good for you, yours. All right, you man. So
You're not like you're not playing the politics into the drum set. I don't understand.
You weren't wishing that snare drum was like Kim Jong Un or someone of important
You
value.
went for it.
I'm just kidding. You can imagine whoever you hate.
I don't hate. It's all good. No, it's just it's about music.
I'd say that I have a very strong political view, but I'm also not very passionate about politics because I feel like it gets very lost a lot of times. That being said, I feel like I would like to express a certain viewpoint within my music at all times, within our music. So, yeah, politics, the word politics is kind of hard
Scary.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
say,
It's
but
too political.
in a way. But I still want to represent and
Way
put
to
forward
simplify that, Mike.
ideas that we hold true to ourselves. I would say collectively within the music that we put out.
And we do have a number of songs that are about the environment and
True that.
wanting to
Yeah.
take care of the planet that we're on. So
Cool. So
That's
there's
good.
a message
Yeah.
behind
There's some
everything then.
messages,
Yeah.
There's
Peace.
definitely an environmental kind of
Peace
vibe.
and love.
Yeah, I mean, as long
We
as you
just
guys
want
are
everybody
Save the yellowtail.
to love each other and
stay true to yourselves
die
and,
happy. Yeah.
and die happy.
Yeah.
But make sure you die. Cut. All right, we're done.
That's
Make
it.
sure you
oh,
die.
E-Man's out.
out of here.
That's the last thing.
No,
to
but
say.
it was great to have you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Everybody go follow EMAEL and get them on Spotify, on Apple Music. Where are you guys at? Everything, right?
All the
YouTube?
things.
Plug
Cool.
yourselves.
So go right now, listen to
Napster.
it. These are amazing people, incredible
Napster plays the
artists.
highest.
You'll be blessed. Your ears will be blessed by their music. So
Dude, thanks, man.
yeah, definitely. You guys are amazing. So it's great to have you.
Thank you, man.
Thanks
We'll
for
see you
coming,
guys next time,
Yeah,
okay?
Definitely.
Yeah. Been great.
Thanks.
Yeah, definitely. Nice meeting you. Great to meet you.
Wait, is this handshaking going to be on
No, I hope not. I hope not.
But we're doing it anyway.
Gotta get the photo.
That'll be good though.
Music and credits rolling.
All right, everyone bring it in for a group hug. All right.
On the bottom, from the top of the road where the sun laughs. I can't get into detail. All I've got is where I am today, and I feel like I wanna just run around and play it, because the air's so free, yeah. And I got the feels for you, for you. You are some gold you give, self-hidden like a treasure, like the measure of your worth. Those I feel like I wanna just run around and play it, because the air's so free, yeah. And I got the feels for you, for you. And I feel like I wanna go and just run around and play it, because the air's so free, yeah. And I got the feels for you, for you. How can I see in the dark when in the sun I don't know anything? I'm waiting to breathe in all the flavors of life. I feel like I'm missing, crooked and broken, my body don't feel. How can I see in the dark when in the sun I don't know anything? I'm waiting to breathe in all the flavors of life. I feel like I'm missing, crooked and broken, my body don't feel. Crooked and broken, my body don't feel a thing. On the bottom, from the top of the road where the sun